Hello, George, Fat Ninja Foodforest. This video is going to be on how we fertilize this property. We don't bring anything in other than chicken feed and duck feed. We do supplement their feed a bit, but even the soil here is right full of insects. That's why they're in here right now. If I drop it, you'll see they'll go for it. They believe there's insects in there. So it's the microorganism, just like a forest. This is a food forest. There's ways for us to collect those microorganisms and put them where we need them and multiply the populations. That's what we're going to talk about. Compost, compost tea, compost extract, and Korean natural farming a little bit. I'll show you examples of what we use up here. All right, we'll have a look at the fertilizers now. All right. So we've got 110 gallons of rainwater. And to that, I'm going to use these ferments. So like I said, a big thing we use is the worm castings. There's even a little baby worm in there. Gorgeous castings. We'll use these. I've made videos before on the difference between extracts, as we call them, or teas. So an extract, we're just going to extract those good guys out of here. That soil food web, the bacteria and the fungi, the protozoa, the microarthropods, the nematodes. There shouldn't be any arthropods in there. They'll be in the soil already. The decomposers, we're just talking spiders, and then down to the smaller ones. I don't need to go on too much. So here is the ferments. So we're using an aerobic oxygenated tea extract, just putting it into the oxygenated water. We've also used these. We hear a lot of bad things about the anaerobic environment. It's where our disease pathogens are attracted to and spread from. When we look under a microscope, it's very obvious when we see those kinds of things, the types of bacteria that would be in there and fungus that are in there. What we're doing with these, it's never, in nature, it's never going to be all aerated or all anaerobic or aerobic soil. What we've done with these, I follow Chris Trump and Master Cho, is using brown sugar. Most of these are brown sugar. To use osmosis to pull those nutrients out of those plants, and that's how I fermented them. So I was able to take packed brown sugar, equal parts brown sugar to plant material. Some of these are for fermented plant juice, so just the green parts, looking for fast-growing tips of plants that are real healthy. First thing in the morning, when they've got a lot of that dew on them, when the microbial activity is the highest, that's what we're looking for. Some of them were the fruits, pumpkins and comfrey. I can't remember what other flowers I used, fruits I used. But I've got a few different ones, comfrey and goji and different weeds mixed together. The key to using these, we'll talk about these in a minute, another ferment, is the dilution ratio. So I'm going to use these about a 1 to 1,000. Where with the compost and the worm castings, I can't overmix it. I can put a slurry on the ground and be just fine. This, I am having that anaerobic environment, and I've learned the hard way, and sprayed it all over the leaves, not diluted it enough, thought, oh, it'll be fine, nature will take care of it. You're not. You're making the perfect environment for them to show up. So if I'm going to use this foliar, I definitely want to go with 1,000 to 1 dilution. I tend not to use it as a foliar spray, just to be sure. I use it as a root drench. These down here, I guess we'll talk about the other ferments. These were just simple ferments. Excuse me, you're losing my voice. 1 second. I need a drink. So these are some of the same ones. Comfrey, some mint and lemon balm, and some stinging nettles. I've submerged those in water, put a stone on the top, and let them ferment in an anaerobic environment. When all that oxygen became depleted, it fermented just like our sauerkrauts and our kimchis, getting all that nutrient, all that flavor out of that plant material into the liquid. These actually, I go about a month, let them really get fermented well. And this is the type of Korean natural farming that is a son of Master Cho. And this is called Jadam organic farming. Jadam, I believe is the way you'd say it. And this is going to be, it's water-based rather than brown sugar-based. I've looked at them both under a microscope. This is actually no life in it. It's through osmosis. It's suspended that nutrient. Looking at this, it's a very anaerobic environment. But I don't dilute this as much, but I don't spray it on the plants. So this is going to be, Jadam is going to be diluted about 20 to 1. And this is about 1,000 to 1. So I'm going to use 55 gallons. I had to Google this for to make sure, is about 21,000 milliliters. So I'm going to use about 1.5 tablespoons for 20 milliliters per, I'll say this simple, not confuse anybody. For these ferments, the brown sugar, using osmosis to extract it, I'm using 1,000 to 1 dilution. So I'm going to have 1.5 tablespoons per 55 gallon drum. For these three, which were the water ferments, it'll be a 20 to 1. So 5 gallons, 2.5 gallons per 55 gallon drum. And the last one we'll talk about is the water calcium extract, WCA. And that was just eggshells. Eggshells put in vinegar until the bubbles stopped. Filter the eggs out of it, and you have a water available calcium at that point. Same thing. Don't go any more than 500 to 1. I might go 2 tablespoons of this per 55 gallon drum. So I'll go about 5 gallons of castings, about 2.5 gallons of water ferment, and a few tablespoons, because I have a few of them here, of different fermented plant and fruit juices. I hope that makes sense. I'm losing my voice, so I'm not going to make this a longer video. That's how we fertilize this entire property. We don't bring in any other composts or pesticides or insecticides or fungicides, fertilizers of any type. It's having the plants running around all the time. Oh, I'm sorry, the animals running around all the time, and the right plants planted out there. We have dynamic accumulators. There's a cardinal, bright red cardinal. Dynamic accumulators, nitrogen fixing plants, and all the different layers that we can get them in. Mimicking nature. And we're just giving it a jump start with these ferments and these compost teas. I don't know if you can see him or not. So I'm George. This is Phat Ninja Food Forest.